understand but sheltered. Confidence we tend to shelf and unexpected hunger drives me. Just shut up and stand beside me. I don't need your understanding. I don't need to change a damn thing. And though I'm used to have you here, it doesn't change the man I was when you found me and there was no one else.
Fire protection and prevention. 1926.150. Our group members include Carrie Smith, myself, Michael Helm, and Daniel Robert Johnson. Fire protection. 1926.150. There's some examples of fire protection. 1926.150A. Development of fire protection plan. The employer is responsible for the development of a fire protection program that should be followed in all phases of construction and demolition jobs. This should also include firefighting equipment. A fire hazard may occur and there shall be no delay in having the equipment. Access to the firefighting equipment must be maintained at all times. Equipment provided by the employer shall be conspicuously located. All equipment must be periodically inspected and replaced if any defect. The employer shall provide a trained and equipped firefighting organization, or else this could happen. Don't want that to happen. Water supply. A temporary or a permanent water supply should be sufficient in volume, duration, and pressure, which is required to properly operate the firefighting equipment. Water supply. Underground water mains shall be installed, completed, and made available for use as soon as practical. A fire extinguisher not rated less than 2A shall be provided for each 3,000 square feet of the building area or fraction thereof. The travel distance shall not exceed 100 feet and must be equipped with a nozzle, be capable of discharging a minimum of 5 gallons per minute with a minimum hose length of 30 feet horizontally. These are examples of fire extinguishers. One or more fire extinguishers shall be provided on each floor. Extinguishers and water drums that might freeze shall be protected from freezing. Extinguishers that are rated less than 10B shall be provided within 50 feet of wherever more than 5 gallons of flammable or combustible liquids or 5 gallons of flammable gas that is used on the job site. A fire extinguisher rated less than 10B shall be provided within 50 feet of wherever more than 5 gallons of flammable or combustible liquid or 5 pounds of flammable gas are used on the job site. Carbon tetrachloride and toxic liquid fire extinguishers are not allowed. Portable fire extinguishers shall be inspected and maintained in accordance with maintenance and the use of portable extinguishers. Hoses must be 100 feet or less of 1.5-inch hose with a nozzle capable of discharging 25 gallons per minute of water. Fire hose connections must be compatible with the local firefighting equipment. During demolition that involves combustible materials, a charge hose line, hydrants, and water tank trucks all shall be available. 1926.150D. Fixed firefighting equipment. Sprinkler protection. If the facility that is under construction includes the installation of a sprinkler protection, the installation shall follow the construction and be in service as soon as the law permit is complete. Here's an example of sprinkler protection. 1926.150D. Standpipes. In structures where standpipes are required or exist in structures being altered They shall be brought to code as soon as applicable laws permit, and maintained as construction progresses in such a manner that they are always ready for fire protection use. The standpipes shall always be provided with Siamese fire department connections on the outside of the building. At street level, which must be marked, where there should be one hose outlet at each floor level. And here are examples of standpipes. You may have seen these before. 1926.150E, Fire Alarm Devices. An alarm system, telephone, or siren must be established by the employer on site, and local fire departments can be alerted in an emergency. The alarm code and instructions must be conspicuously posted by phone and the entrance. There's your strobe. There's your bell. You hear and see those? Get out. 1926.150F, Fire Cutoffs. Firewalls and exit stairways must be construction priority, and the fire doors with automatic closing devices must be hung at openings as soon as possible. Fire cutoffs must be kept in all buildings undergoing alterations or demolitions until operations are removed. Fire Prevention, 1926.151. 1926.151A, Ignition Hazards. The electrical wiring and light, heat, and power equipment must be installed in compliance with the requirements of Subpart K. Internal combustion engine powered equipment must be located so that the exhausts are away from combustible materials. The exhaust must be piped outside the building under construction with a clearance of at least 6 inches maintained between piping and combustible material. No smoking allowed at or in vicinity of operations which are a fire hazard, and a no smoking or open flame sign must be posted.
Prepare for launch in 3, 2, 1.
Activate.
This is a dangerous group to the groups that we're dealing with now.
Target locked. Target locked. Target locked. Target
Smoking's bad for your health. Getting smokes bad for your health. Smoking's bad for your health. Getting smokes bad for your health.
Ignition hazards. Portable battery-powered lighting equipment that is being used in connection with storage, handling, or use of flammable gases or liquids must be approved for the hazardous location. The nozzle for air, inert gas, and steam lines or hoses, when used for cleaning or ventilation of tanks and vessels that may contain hazardous concentrations that are flammable gases or vapors, must be bonded to the tank or vessel shell. The bond device must be attached or detached in hazardous concentrations of flammable gases or vapors. Temporary buildings. A temporary building may not be erected where it will adversely affect any means of exit. When a temporary building is located within another building or structure, it may not be either non-combustible construction or of combustible construction having fire resistance of not less than an hour. Here's an example of some temporary buildings. If a temporary building is located other than inside another building or structure not used for the storage, handling, or use of flammable or combustible liquids, flammable gases, explosives, or blasting agents, must be located at a distance less than 10 feet from another building or structure. If there are groups of temporary buildings, they cannot exceed 2,000 square feet in aggregate, and for the purpose of this part be considered a single temporary building. 1926.151C Open Yard Storage. Combustible materials must be piled with regard to the stability of piles and in no case higher than 20 feet. Driveways between and around combustible storage piles should be at least 15 feet wide and maintained free from accumulation of rubbish, equipment, or any other articles or materials. The driveway must be spaced at a maximum grid of 50 feet by 150 feet. The entire storage site must be kept free from accumulation of unnecessary combustible materials, and weeds and grass must be kept down and a regular procedure in place for a periodic cleanup of the area. If there is danger of an underground fire, the land shall be used for combustible or flammable storage. A method for piling must be solid whenever possible and kept orderly in regular piles. No combustible material can be stored outdoors within 10 feet of a building or structure. Portable fire extinguishers suitable for fire hazard must be located in convenient, conspicuously accessible locations in the yard area. 1926.151D Indoor Storage. The storage cannot obstruct or adversely affect the means of exit. Materials must be stored, handled, and piled in regards to their fire characteristics. Non-compatible materials that may create a fire hazard will be segregated by a barrier having a fire resistance of at least 1 hour. Material must be piled in order to minimize the spread of fire internally and to permit convenient access for firefighting. There should be a clearance of 24 inches maintained around the path of travel with lights and heating units to prevent ignition of combustible materials. 1926.152 Flammable Liquids. 1926.152A General Requirements. Approved containers and portable tanks must be used for storage and handling of flammable liquids and be approved. Safety cans or Department of Transportation approved containers must be used. The use of flammable liquids shall be in quantities of 5 gallons or less unless the liquids are highly viscid, which may be used and handled in original shipping containers. 1926.152B Indoor Storage of Flammable Liquids. There can be no more than 25 gallons of flammable liquids stored in a room outside of an approved storage cabinet. Flammable liquids cannot be in excess of 25 gallons unless stored in an acceptable or approved cabinet, which should be acceptable wooden storage or approved metal, such as this. The cabinet should be labeled in conspicuous lettering, flammable, keep away from open flames. No more than 60 gallons of Category 1, 2, and 3 flammable liquids or 120 gallons of Category 4 can be stored in any cabinet at a time. Materials that react with water and can create a fire hazard must be stored in the same room with other flammable liquids. 1926.153 Liquefied petroleum gas. Liquefied petroleum gas describes flammable hydrocarbon gases such as butane, propane, and other mixtures containing these gases. It is created through pressurization using natural gas processes and oil refinement, generally stored in steel vessels compressed as a liquid. The process begins by first drilling oil wells and then piped away into a gas trap, dividing the stream into crude oil and wet gas containing the LPG and natural gas. The crude oil sinks to the bottom of the trap since it is heavier and then is pumped into an oil storage tank for refinement. The wet gas is gathered off the top of the gas trap and is processed to separate the natural gas, which is an LPG. The fuel is used for eating, cooking in vehicles as refrigerants, aerosol propellants, and petrochemical feedstock. Liquid petroleum gas pros. Since stored as a liquid, it is incredibly portable and convenient, especially when you can't just pipe it anywhere. When electricity is not a viable option, as in disaster relief or certain emergencies, liquid petroleum gas canisters may be used. Although it is a fossil fuel, it is rather clean compared to others, such as coal. Liquid petroleum gas cons. Since these gases are pressurized and stored in tanks as a liquid, they are compressed 274 times than what that gas would normally occupy, as gas molecules are spread out while liquid molecules are in a closer vicinity. With these highly pressurized tanks comes safety risk, as gas may leak rapidly from a container and may even explode under certain conditions. The range of flammable acceptance and an ignition source. Flammable compressed gases have a gas concentration within the acceptable flammable range, meaning the concentration of the gas in the air must be between its lower flammable limit, or LFL, and its upper flammable limit, or UFL. An ignition source must be present when it is in between this range. But in a workplace, it is not difficult to find, as there are many situations in the workplace that might cause an opportunity to arise, as hot surfaces and open flames are common sight in many industries. Safety valves. The function of a safety valve is to prevent rupture by relieving excess pressure buildup. All propane tanks and cylinders are required by law to be fitted with a safety relief valve. It not only protects the tank, but you and those around you in an unlucky scenario. Considered the most important valve on any liquid petroleum gas container. These are examples of safety valves. 1926.154 Temporary heating devices. Temporary heating devices are essential during the winter months, especially on construction sites. These devices include liquid petroleum gas, circulating and radiant room, or other types of heaters. May be hazardous as fires, fumes from the fuels, consumption of oxygen, and burn injuries are a possibility. OSHA has set aside regulations specifically for this when these devices are being used, and they are adequate ventilation and providing fresh air for health and safety of your employees, sufficient clearance to ensure fire hazards are prevented. Heaters not suitable for wood floors shall not be set on them, but set on 1-inch concrete or an equivalent. Heaters being used near combustible tarpaulins, canvas, or similar coverings should be located 10 feet away and coverings fastened to prevent ignitions. Heaters need to be set horizontally for stability. 1926.155 Definitions applicable to this subpart. A closed container means a container so sealed by means of a lid or other device that neither liquid nor vapor will escape from it at ordinary temperatures. Combustion means any chemical process that involves oxidation sufficient to produce light or heat. Fire brigade means an organized group of employees that are knowledgeable, trained, and skilled in the safe evacuation of employees during emergency situations and in assisting in firefighting operations. Fire resistance means so resistant to fire that for specified time and under conditions of a standard heat intensity, it will not fail structurally and will not permit the side away from the fire to become hotter than a specified temperature. For purposes of this part, fire resistance shall be determined by the standard methods of fire test of building construction and materials NFPA 251-1969. Flammable means capable of being easily ignited, burning intensely, or having a rapid rate of flame spread. Flammable liquid means any liquid having a vapor pressure not exceeding 40 pounds per square inch at 100 degrees Fahrenheit and having a flash point at or below 199.4 degrees. They are divided into 4 categories. Category 1 shall include liquids having flash points below 73.4 degrees and having a boiling point at or below 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Category 2 shall include liquids having flash points below 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit and having a boiling point above 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Category 3 shall include liquids having flash points at or above 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit and at or below 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Category 4 shall include liquids having flash points above 140 degrees Fahrenheit and at or below 199.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Flash point of the liquid means the temperature at which it gives off vapor sufficient to form an ignitable mixture with the air near the surface of the liquid or within the vessel used as determined by appropriate test procedure and apparatus as specified below. Liquefied petroleum gases, LPG, and LP gas mean and include any material which is composed predominantly of any of the following hydrocarbons or mixtures of them, such as propane, propylene, butane, and butylenes. Portable tank means a closed container having a liquid capacity more than 60 US gallons and not intended for fixed installation. Safety can means an approved closed container of not more than 5 gallons capacity, having a flash arresting screen, spring closing lid, and spout cover, and so designed that it will safely relieve internal pressure when subjected to fire exposure. Vapor pressure means the pressure measured in pounds per square inch exerted by volatile liquid as determined by the standard method of test for vapor pressure of petroleum products. OSHA 1926.157, previously known as Fixed Extinguishing Systems and Gases Agent, has been removed. 1926.158, Fire Detection Systems, has also been removed. And 1926.159, Employer Alarm Systems, has also been removed.
Who with it now?